4.5 billion years ago, according to the most popular theory, a violent collision forged the moon, likely from a Mars-sized object smashing into Earth. From that cataclysmic birth, the moon emerged as a silent witness to everything that followed: the rise of oceans, continents, life, and eventually, technology advanced enough to send a fragile craft from Earth to the lunar surface. It was here, in the Sea of Tranquility, that two men became the first life forms in history to walk on another world. And as far as we know, the first time another world had ever experienced life. Their footprints are still there today, a reminder of this historic moment. But time marches on. What happened to the items left behind? How have they fared for 56 years exposed to the hostile lunar surface? And can we see it today? You're watching V101 Space. My name's Rob, and we're on the final stretch to 1 million subscribers. If you love space and want to be a part of this incredible journey, hit that subscribe button and let's reach that milestone together. It began on July 16th, 1969, when a Saturn V rocket thundered into the sky from Cape Canaveral. Inside were 3 astronauts with the weight of history on their shoulders. Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, and Michael Collins were packed into the command module, a space about the size of a large family car. Then, after around 3 days and 384,000 kilometers, the lunar module, nicknamed Eagle, separated from the command module, leaving Collins above as it descended toward a cratered alien surface. On July 20th, Neil Armstrong took that legendary first step, speaking the words etched into human history.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Buzz Aldrin joined him shortly after, calling the moon magnificent desolation, a hauntingly accurate phrase. All around them, the grey powder of the lunar regolith stretched silently, unchanged for billions of years. But for roughly 21 hours, the moon was no longer just a rock in the sky. It became a place of purpose, of movement, of human presence, bestrewed with activity, science, and symbolism. Apollo 11 didn't just carry humans to the moon, however. It also carried a surprising amount of stuff. Stuff that had to be left behind, mainly to reduce weight and save fuel for their journey back into lunar orbit. The largest object still sitting there is the descent stage of the lunar module, the gold and silver base that acted as their launch pad. Close by sit scientific instruments, including a seismometer and a laser reflector, tools that allowed scientists to study moonquakes and measure the exact distance between Earth and the moon. That reflector still works to this day. There's also the TV camera, discarded tools, and sample collection bags used to gather 21.5 kilograms of lunar rock and dust. And then there's the American flag, planted proudly in the regolith, but accidentally knocked over by the exhaust when the 2 astronauts launched off the moon. They also left behind something deeply human, a memorial disc with goodwill messages from 73 countries, a patch honouring the fallen crew of Apollo 1, a golden olive branch, a symbol of peace. And finally, bags of waste. Yep, human waste. Because when you're launching back with limited fuel, every kilogram counts. Many of these items are likely still sitting there today, largely undisturbed for 56 years, like an eerie campsite that no one returned to. And that is just the Apollo 11 mission. A further 5 missions landed on the moon at different sites over the following 4 years, with many more items left behind. When it was time to leave, the Apollo 11 astronauts Armstrong and Aldrin climbed back into the Eagle. The upper stage ignited, blasting them off the surface and back toward orbit, where Michael Collins waited above. But even as the astronauts left, interestingly, life didn't. It temporarily, at least, stayed behind. You see, inside those discarded waste bags of urine, feces, even vomit, were trillions of microbes. Hitchhikers from Earth, now exposed to cosmic radiation, freezing temperatures, and vacuum. Could any of them have survived? Probably not, but we can't say for sure. The moon's environment is incredibly hostile, but some Earth microbes are famously resilient. They've survived in space before. In fact, many astrobiologists are very interested to know if any of those microorganisms have or did undergo any genetic mutations under the harsh lunar environment. If life could persist on the moon, it seems this is where you'd find it, in sealed pockets of human biology left behind half a century ago. So, can we see any of these lunar campsites from Earth today? The Apollo 11 site is far too small to see from Earth. Even the most powerful telescopes can't pick it out. But we can see it from orbit. In 2009, the Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter flew just 24 kilometers above the surface and took stunning, high-resolution photos of the landing area. There, in stark black and white, you can see the shadow of the lunar module. You can even make out the dark lines, the very paths where Armstrong and Aldrin walked between experiments. Their footprints are still there, frozen in time. But how has it all weathered, exposed to the hostile lunar surface for 56 years? The moon doesn't have wind. There is no atmosphere, no flowing water or tectonic shifts. But there are extreme temperature variations and intense radiation exposure. Some of the materials may have faded or degraded. The bright gold foil on the descent stage, for example, has likely dulled by decades of harsh ultraviolet radiation. And the American flag, made of ordinary nylon, was never designed to survive in space. With no atmosphere to protect it, it would have endured 56 years of unfiltered sunlight and temperature extremes. If any part of it remains, it's probably brittle, torn, or bleached ghost white. But the site, the structure, the human imprint, it's all still there, likely just a little dustier and duller. On Earth, a footprint can last minutes. On the moon, it can last potentially millions of years. The moon is dead, but that's exactly why it's so alive with history. NASA has asked all future lunar missions to avoid disturbing the area. Some scientists believe the site should even be protected under a new category, extraterrestrial cultural heritage. You see, the Apollo 11 landing site is more than just old equipment and footprints. It's a message, one that says we were here, that we reached beyond our world, that we dared to try. One day, it might even be a museum. I can imagine future astronauts, tourists, or lunar settlers perhaps, standing at the edge of that disturbed patch of dust, gazing at the moment our species successfully explored beyond Earth. Footprints on a world without time, left by creatures from a neighbouring planet. If you've made it this far, thank you. But did you know that over 86% of people who watch my videos aren't subscribed? And if you're still here, then you're exactly the kind of person I make these videos for. V101 Space is closing in on 1 million subscribers. And if you've enjoyed this journey through the cosmos, I would love for you to be a part of that moment. So please do hit the subscribe button, it really helps more than you know. And if you want to go one step further and help support the channel directly, you can become a V101 member or patron. The links are in the description. It keeps this project going and gives you some nice perks too, including your name at the end of each video and things like behind the scenes access and exclusive content. Either way, thank you for watching and I'll see you next time.